Take two. Okay, hi. I'm mostly Jose Domingo Cruz. And this is this is my lovely partner, Melody Cook, and we're going to be talking today about teaching fluency in a Zoom situation, or specifically a Zoom situation, perhaps in RATT, which is an acronym that I will explain in just a moment. And we will also be asking your help in giving Melody perhaps some potential solutions from a good brainstorming session about how she can take a class that she did before. She'll describe that situation, and maybe we can come up with some ideas for her. So everyone, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I wanted to show you some of what I used to do before the entire pandemic came through. So I tried to line up some slides that I already had prepared, which I'm calling up right now. I already had prepared for presentations that I was doing all the way up to 2020. And then just a few of the slides from there, so that then you can get an idea of what it is that I had been doing before, because what I do is kind of unique. And it does take a bit of explanation before I start talking about how I adapted it to what is RATT or ERT. ERT we know very well, emergency remote teaching. We've all learned how to cope with that in our work. But Adam Jenkins, who is, I believe, on his way home from the convenience store right now, came up with another acronym called RATT, R-A-T-T, which is translated to Reduced Altered Toolset Teaching. The idea being that we should be, by now, past ERT. Emergency remote teaching, where everyone's just going crazy, pulling out their hair, doing their best, and has pretty much any excuse that they want for whatever failures that they might have had, because it was an emergency. You got to be kind to students, you got to be kind to yourselves, and we got to be kind to each other. But now that we're past that, we have some experience. We have at least a 3, maybe 4-week vacation before we start up again in October. We no longer should, at least if we're going to be disciplined about it, be thinking about what we're doing still in October as exactly the same level of emergency that we were dealing with before. It is, however, not what we're used to. It is a set of tools for teaching that have been reduced or have been altered. Now, altered can mean good or bad. And it depends on how you look at what you do. If what you do lends itself well to working with an LMS. One example for me, at least, is that now that I have discovered LMSs, I am never going to go back. I am never going to hand out a piece of paper ever again. No more trees will suffer because of my own ignorance about what digital assignments can do for me. So that's what RATT is all about. And I did my best during ERT to take this teaching method, which I'm about to show you, and adapt it. But I think it'll be even better once I start thinking even more going into October, when I'm more comfortable with the technology. I know what students can be like when we're in Zoom rooms, or when they're in Moodle doing their asynchronous work. So let me just show you a quick, very, very quick, and you're going to end up with a lot of questions, and I understand that, a very, very quick rundown of what I do to teach fluency and how I use fluency as a set of guidelines for how I make up my classroom work. So I'm going to share now, and believe this is all set. Yeah, there I am. Okay, everybody got me? Yeah. Melody, I'm good here?
Yep, I can see you.
Okay, so you got 2 of me, so try to ignore at least one. And one of me is pretty big, so I'm really sorry about that. But this is from a slideshow that I use, or a standard slideshow that I use when I do presentations on what I call structure, control, and verbal classrooms. We don't need to get too wrapped up in that acronym, but I just basically wanted to show you where I'm coming from. So from there, I'm actually going to ask, if you don't mind, I forgot to tell Melody this. I wanted to go into breakout rooms for just a couple of minutes, if that's okay. Because when we're going to be talking about fluency, we should understand what fluency is. Now, some of you might already be able to read the CEFR's fluency definitions. But from here, because we're going to be talking about fluency, I'm going to kill this share for a second. And I'm going to get prepared to put, how many we got here? Melody, 23, Melody and me, 21. So I'm going to make 10 rooms, I think.
Leave me out, because I'm going to bring in people.
Yep. Okay. You're not going in.
Leave
Yeah.
me out in the home.
10.
People are still coming
Actually,
in.
you know what? Because sorry, let's make it 7 rooms. Okay. Some people will only be a pair. Yeah, talk to each other. Try not to remember what you saw in that slide just previously, and ask yourself before you saw that slide, if somebody had asked you, Sensei, how do you define fluency? And talk to your pair, talk to that other person, depending on your number, and try to define it for yourselves. I'm going to create the rooms, and I'm going to give you just, sorry about this, it's only going to be 2 minutes and only 10 seconds after I close the room. So you're going to be coming back. It's only going to be 2 minutes. So just try to jump straight into the conversation. If anybody is not okay with your assignment for this breakout room, you have just a couple of seconds to stop me and ask me to say the question again. Okay, here we go. Talk about fluency. Sorry, I didn't tell you about that before, Mel. And she actually went into the breakout room. Hey, is that Robert Edward Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, Robert Edward Jones.
Jones.
We just went in the breakout room. So let me throw you in.
Sorry, I only just joined you this moment. It's a little bit late. Sorry.
I totally
actually wanted to change my name to Bob Jones.
Maybe better. Yeah, you can do that. You might want to stay with Robert, because there's another Bob in here, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let me throw you into this room. That's breakout room 3. Yeah. They'll explain to you what you're up to in the breakout rooms, okay? And he just left anyway.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you joined one, so.
No. No.
Oh, see, yeah, here's more people coming in.
That's my friend from Fukuoka, Yoshiko Sensei.
Ah. Oh, nice. Darth Vader.
Darth Vader? Oh, because I don't see it, because I don't see non-video participants here.
Oh.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly ask a couple people. I don't want to go through all of the rooms, because that's just too much time, but ask people what their fluency definition is, and then I'll tell them what my fluency definition is, which is important because it's why I do what I do.
Cool.
30 seconds. Oh, I'm nervous. Can't believe I don't normally get nervous.
Don't be.
Well, I have all these little session babies running around. I'm like a
Who's after us? Is there someone after us?
Gretchen Clark.
Otsukiyosh. Hi, I'm at workplace.
Okay, well then don't talk too loudly, or you're gonna get bareru yo, sensei. Kiotsukete kudasai ne. Barenai
Nice
yo
to
ni.
meet you, Darth Vader.
Okay, so we're closing, and then we're coming back, and then.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. For the sake of time, I'm not going to ask, sorry, I know that you all had a very productive bit of discussion there, but I'm just going to ask a couple people to give me basically a summary, perhaps, of what their group came up with. So everybody get ready, because I don't know who were the team leaders, and I don't know what were actually the productive or perhaps unproductive discussions. I see some people were eating. For all I know, you were all chewing in those breakout rooms. So here we go. Bill Pello. Bill, could you open your mic and tell us maybe, oh, geez. Okay, I like that smile. And tell us what maybe you came up with as a definition for fluency in your discussion.
Well, what I said was, I thought it was, we all have to pause to think about what we want to say, but we don't have to really think about how to say it, because we're fluent. But if we have to think about how to say it in the foreign language, then I think that's not so fluent. And other people kind of agreed with me, and but also brought up a definition by Paul Nation that I don't remember. So
I was going to go, I'm going to agree. Like I really know what that definition is, and I don't know. I was glad. Hey, oh wow, Paul Nation.
Oh, and 2006. Yeah, the big book.
I'll go read it. Chris Toryu, can I ask what happened in your discussion?
There we go. I didn't actually get around to say my definition, but the two fellows in my group, we decided that, or they said, the ability to, of course, speak smoothly and easily, and to be able to handle the unknowns, if you don't know a word, but to be able to use devices to get around that easily without stopping the conversation.
Right. Okay. Other definitions, well, thank you very much, both of you. Other definitions that I've encountered involve things like the ability to speak beautifully, the ability to speak with a high vocabulary. They get a lot of that from students. To have no problems with your grammar. Students almost always attach the eventual goal of becoming fluent in the second language with how it is that they're taught in school. So of course, they're going to be talking about vocabulary and grammar. The problem is that if you take all of that, and not all of that, I'm sorry, not vocabulary and grammar, but what Chris and Bill had just mentioned, you take that and the student says, okay, that's great. Now, what should I do to achieve that? And when you're talking about the ability to speak without thinking, when you're talking about all of the other things that might have been running through your head as a definition, we as teachers have to provide our students some kind of method that they can say, do this every day, do this every week, measure it against this. These are the goals that you want for the first few months. This is a goal that you want for the long term, for the medium term, for the short term. Fluency, for the most part, is something that evades most of us. It evades our ability to define it in that way. For me too, for most of the time. So let me just go back to my share. When I was dealing with fluency and I was dealing with looking at the CEFR, you're from B2 to C2, basically you have a degree of fluency. From A1 to B1, basically you're still kind of stuttering and stopping. What Bill was saying is you got to think and you got to translate and stuff. But even at these relatively high levels, like C2 means basically us, native speakers. Look at their definition. And the definition, I don't know if you can see it here, B2, a degree of fluency. C1, express ideas fluently. And then C2, very fluently. So still incredibly vague. If you try to tell a student, well, okay, Mr. Cruz, those were good ideas. Now, what do I do? Well, you should speak very fluently. Totally tautological thinking. But this isn't really that helpful. And I started thinking about my own experience, because one of the great advantages that I have is that I did not actually go to Canada knowing how to speak English. I had to learn how to speak English. In the Philippines, you are brought into immersion English education from grade 4. And we immigrated to Canada when I was still just in grade 3. So even though it was spoken by all of my older friends and of course my family and on the TV, it wasn't anything that I had taken as a class. So when we go to Canada, I remember what the teachers did for me in Canada to get me to become fluent. And of course, you know, you're 9 years old, you're in an English environment, you're very, very quickly going to become fluent. But there were also classes, there were also lessons. And if I can take away anything from that, it was this: speak quickly, Jose. Everything that we do as native speakers can be brought down very rudimentarily, okay? Now, of course, there are other definitions, but I'm talking about being able to give a student a framework of ideas so that then they can become independent of you and still have a framework that they can use to judge their progression. And to me, that's speed. If you can speak from about 110 to 120 words per minute, that's about 2 words per second. 2 words per second is about this speed. And yeah, I'd say that some people sometimes speak like this. And you could still kind of say, yeah, kind of fluent, yeah. And me, when I get really excited, I can talk at about 170 words per minute, maybe 200 if I really wanted to. And that's about 200 words per minute or so. But people speak around that range. A mean length run, let me explain that very quickly. It's the ability to say a string of words without any disfluencies, without any stopping, without any filler words like or ah, and get to the end until you really want to. Basically what I just did. And that was what, maybe about 30 words. I could have gone longer if I had practiced a bit more, if I didn't make it up as I went along. Now, most non-native speakers, most of our kids at around B2 or B1 will be at about 8 syllables, not words, 8 syllables before they have to either stop or repeat or just give up or sometimes use Japanese. Well, these are the two definitions that I give to my kids. If you can speak at a minimum of 110, 120 words per second, you have the speed component down. If you can speak at that speed and speak at 8 words or better as a phrase, as an unbroken phrase, then you have the smoothness component down. It's broken down into 2 parts that I'm going to skip over, but basically speed and smoothness. The next set of slides, which I really don't want to take too long about, do have advantages and disadvantages both. And if you want to speak to me about it, Steve Payton, are you there, buddy? Can you open your mic a bit?
Yeah, I am here.
Okay,
sorry.
good.
Yeah, I've been in and out, but I am now.
No problem,
You
man.
go.
I just wanted to mention that maybe later on we could talk a little bit in front of everybody about how we brought this together, and now that you've adapted to your classroom pre-COVID, that it actually worked for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would appreciate
I'll try
that.
to stick
buddy.
around. Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you, my friend.
And
And
disappear again.
it's okay, man. I know everybody's at work right now. Okay, now my classroom goals pre-COVID were this, okay? Maximizing student speed and output quantity. I really didn't care when it came to their speaking, whether or not they were speaking in totally grammatical sentences. And I gotta admit, I think we as a, oops, sorry, pushed the wrong button. We as a group of teachers have to pay a little bit more than lip service to the idea, oh, don't worry about your mistakes. Oh, it's okay. You know, it's communication is the most important thing. Don't let your confidence stop you or anything. And then we throw a paper test at them at the end where they have to get everything correct or they might not pass. If we're going to be telling them that communication involves your mistakes, then we have to create not just a classroom, but a test where that really is the case. So quantity over quality. We put a focus on fluency and then later idea production, fluency being my definition before. And we help students realize that complexity and accuracy cannot be achieved without fluency. Throwing a lot of vocabulary, a lot of higher level grammar at them. The reason why it doesn't stick, at least from my viewpoint, is that you have to become fluent, literally fluent, before you start worrying about things like relative pronouns. Start studying relative pronouns before you achieve even any degree of fluency in the language. You will eventually forget it. You will. But like me as a kid, I was fluent before I was being taught difficult grammar. And same with all of you. You were fluent at about 3 years old, 4 years old. And then you learned what the word grammar means. Fluency is the first basic building block. Without it, all of the other complex things that we do are not important. Okay, I'm starting to talk too much. Okay, from here, I'm going to be showing you some videos from a YouTube playlist that I have, which I can refer to you later, that you can watch on your own, where I show how I teach. Basically, this is me in front of a model classroom, which is not clicking right now. Come on. Why won't this click? Okay. Oh, dear. Okay, then I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to go to a different share. Sorry about that, everybody, but it's better that you watch it from here anyway. Okay, I'm going to go to this share. My teacher wrote this up for me. Oops, sorry, I forgot. Basic Zoom problem. Oops. I'm so nervous. Let's try that again. Where is my Zoom window? What the heck? Where did my Zoom window go? Oh, I'm still sharing. Oh boy. I'm gonna try that again. And here we go. Okay, so here we are. Yeah. Oh gosh, no, what is that? That's 46 years ago? Holy cow. Okay, when I first went to Canada, and one day she said, Jose, stand up, say all of this in a big, loud, fast voice. And I would stand up and I would say, I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are. Very good. 2 times, faster, louder. I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are. I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are. Now, I bet if I asked one of you right now to do that, you couldn't. And you are university students who've studied English for 6 years. Just goes to show you, all the studying you do doesn't get you ready for speaking. So we're going to speak today. First thing we're going to do, I want you to turn around in your chairs 90 degrees. Turn around 90 degrees. Turn around and face your partner on that side. Just turn around in your chair. Yeah, just turn around in your chair. You don't have to turn the chair. Just turn around in your chair. Good. Okay. There you go. Good. Okay. And this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do this with you. Okay. Take it from the first line. Somebody, when I say ready, go. First line. Okay. You will. I'll go with I am. You'll begin with you are, and I'll continue with he is, she is, and we'll continue from there. When we get to the bottom, we go back to the top. Ready? I'll start. I am.
You are.
He is.
She is.
It is. Look at me. Look
We
at
are.
me. They are.
I am.
You are.
He is.
She is.
It is.
We are.
They are.
I am.
You
He
are.
is.
She
It
is.
is.
We are.
Over here, over here, over here. Very difficult, yeah?
Yes.
But it looks so easy, yeah? Because looking at something in English, studying it on paper is nowhere near as difficult as looking at somebody in the eyes. So it's okay. If you want to look at this, go ahead. Take a look. You can check the order. You can check whatever it is you want. But when you speak to a person, learn to go from paper to a person's eyes. Look all you want, but when your mouth moves, you go back to the person. Okay, when I say ready, go, somebody begins. Look at your partners. Ready? Go!
We are. They are.
Now, you might be thinking that must be faked. It isn't. Every time, in every single class that I have done that from 1997 to today, even in ERT, when I say ready, go, they really do just go. And this is connected to an idea that I have called the no-fail scenario. You set them up with something that does not challenge their intellect, their brain processing power. It is just a skill that they have to master. And you tell them very clearly what it is. And it is that they do this quickly, they look at each other's eyes, and they say it with a voice that can be heard by the other person. It also should relate to what it is that they know are goals for themselves. That's exactly what I want, Mr. Cruz. I want to be able to speak to people and speak quickly and speak with confidence in their eyes. And I want to be able to get over my shy voice. Okay, well, this is where we start. We do it so that you're going to be asked to do something you cannot possibly fail at. Now, for example, here I was doing be verb in the Genzaike, present tense. But in the second class, I'll step back and I'll just ask them to do all of the 7 pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And even that can be a challenge. But this is the next thing I'm going to do, just so you guys can get a bit of a taste of this. We are now 28 people, 28
Yes.
people, and 28 into 3, 9. We're going to put you in groups of 9. And if I see in the breakout rooms that you ended up with a pair, or sorry, maybe one person ended up, because Melanie and I are not going to go into breakout rooms, I'll try to fix that. I'll try to move you around. But I want you to do exactly that. These are the instructions that I give to my students. When you go into that breakout room, do not spend any time introducing yourself to each other. Do not ask who goes first. Okay? Somebody speaks. The next person will speak, the third person will speak, and you go in a circle from there. Don't worry about it. It's just I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are. Now, of course, I'm going to spend a lot more time showing them that on the board, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I want you guys to feel this, okay? So here we go,
Okay.
Breakout rooms.
Yosh Otsuki would like to be excluded from this.
Oh, gosh, how do then I would have to do it manually. Sorry, Yoshiko, can you just, if the sound,
Mute. Just
yeah,
mute.
just stay muted and then turn off your sound, or just disconnect from audio. from it, and then people will know that you're there, but you're not there. Okay, if
Okay.
anybody else is in the same situation. Okay, so we're going to go into breakout rooms. It'll be about 3 people each, and just go. I am, you are, he, she is, it is, we are, they are. You get to they are, you go back to I am. Okay, and now this time, this is only going to be for 1 minute. Okay, and good luck, everybody. What do you think so far? You're muted. You're still muted.
Sorry, you asked me the question? You
Yeah.
asked
What do
me-
you
Oh.
think so far? Because I've never shown this to you.
Good, good. It's getting on 1:30.
Yep,
so
I
you
noticed
know.
that. Can
Yep.
you give me an extra 5 minutes? Because now I'm going to
Oh,
go
yeah.
straight into ERT.
Oh, here's Daniel Beck
Daniel.
wants to come out.
Time is up. Hey, Daniel, you're the only one here. I don't know where everybody. Nobody came to the
No,
presentation.
no. I left the meeting because I was on my phone, and now.
Oh, okay.
Now
I
I'm
was,
back now.
I was going to pull a practical joke on you, and then everybody just suddenly comes in. Okay. That was just one exercise. Now I'm going to show you, not this one. I'm going to show you the set of slides that I use for what I did actually during ERT. So, because it might be troublesome with my side picture on the side, I'm just going to show you the slides themselves. So we started where you started. So just basically present tense. Just getting this out sometimes is hard. I'm sure that some of you can probably relate. Yeah, man, that was hard trying to keep up and trying to reduce the gap between their statement and my statement. Then we would change verbs. Be is just one verb. We would change verbs, and then we go to this, the question type. And this is where it starts to get a bit complicated, but I'll give you the explanation that I give to my students. Okay, now that we've done be verb, now that we've done do, we've done the maybe we did, the past tenses of it, you know, I did, you did, he did, she did, it did, we did, they did, and a few different variations that I throw in. Okay, let's get to something that's really quite hard for most of these kids. The question form in English is ridiculous. You think about how it's structured, that you have to take that subject verb and switch verb subject. And then you have to take the question word and put it in front. What did you do? Now look at that do. It still needs that second verb. It's just ridiculous. And for a lot of these kids, the very first time they look at it and they go, what? Now understanding it actually isn't that hard. That's why they can write these answers very quickly. But doing it fast takes a lot of brain trickery or an awful lot of practice. So that's what SCVC tries to give them. Time that they spend rewiring their brain so that this kind of stuff just becomes instinctual, as it is for us. But it is for us because we've spent literally tens of thousands of hours doing this in our heads. So I tell them, okay, everybody starts at I am. Okay, this is where you guys have always started, but now I want you to use the question. So we wouldn't just go I am I. That's boring. That's a little bit easy. Why don't we do this? The person who starts with I am also now has to ask a question of their partner. And that question will use the pronoun that is next in order to the pronoun that they used in the answer. So if you started with I am, the next pronoun to I is you. So you make a question with you. It becomes I am, are you? Now the answer to any question uses the same pronoun as the question. So if you're asked, are you, you answer, you are. The next pronoun to you is he. So the pairing with you are is he. Is he? I believe this slide too. Oh, I'm sorry, that's do. Is he? Now, if you are answering the question with he, it is he is she. So everybody, let's do this. All of you are muted, I think. Melody, you can mute too if you want. But I want you to be my partner. And I'm going to start, and with your microphone muted, Okay, I want you to give me the answer as best you can. Okay, here we go. I am, are you?
Is he?
Good.
He is.
Okay. He is she?
He is. Yeah. He is.
Wait, who's answering?
He. Oh, hang on.
Bob.
It's me. I'm sort of next to the top. Yeah. Okay.
You're not muted. I was going, whoa.
Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. Can you either
I
mute
put my
yourself?
brain back in. Yeah.
Okay. You can mute yourself or just make, because it confuses everybody else. Okay. So,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. So here we go. Okay. Let's start again. I am, are you? You are, is he? He is she? She is it? It is, are we? We are they? Good. Breakout rooms. Okay. Recreate down to 8.
Wait, Jose, I have a question. Were
Yes, sir.
we meant to be repeating what you said, or
No, I wanted you to answer according to the pattern.
so? Could you do that once again? I sorry.
No problem. No problem.
I'm a non-fluent beginner.
It's okay. And you know what?
I was
I'm
a bit
going to
lost
show
too.
you. I'm going to
I
show you
didn't
the
quite
pattern
follow
too.
what we're
I'm going to
supposed be
show you
doing.
the pattern too. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start from the top. Okay, here we go. I am, are you? You are.
Okay, then what do we say?
Then you say, as the pattern says right there, I am, are you? You use the
Yeah.
same pronoun from my question.
Oh,
to
then
make
we
the-
say you are.
Is he? That's right.
So we say you are, or is that what you said?
No. Okay. So let's see.
Could you do this as do this as student A, student B, so I understand who's supposed to say what?
I will. Steve Payton, are you there, buddy? Hope he is. Okay, here we go. Student A, student B. I also do this in other classes, okay? As I don't know if I have enough room in my framing. I am, are you? You are, is he? He is she? She is it? It is, are we? We are they? They are, am I? I am, are you? You are, is he is a she is, are we are they are, am I am, are you? So it just keeps going down line by line by line. And the question's pronoun is the answer's pronoun.
Okay, so student A says I am, are you? Student B says you are, is he?
Correct.
Is that correct? Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
By the way, this is an interesting study, although I didn't want to go into this, but you are feeling exactly what these students feel. And it has nothing to do with your English level. It has everything to do with the fact that you've never done this exercise before. But it is very similar to how they feel about English all the time. I'm not really sure. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Yeah, that's how we make them feel every time. You're feeling what they're feeling. And I think it's important to have that empathy. So it's good that sort of like came up against that. So any other question before I put you into breakout rooms and you guys just basically struggle the best you can?
Are we going to have this to look at or not?
Probably not.
Okay.
Just try to remember it in your head, and I think you'll be
Students
okay.
have this to look at, or sorry, do the students have it on the blackboard usually, or?
Usually what they do in ERT. Okay, on the blackboard in the classroom, yes, they have it to look at. In ERT, they write it down. Okay, but with you guys, you just remember the pronoun sequence. I am, you are, he is, she is, it is, we are, they are. And remember the slanting, sloping line down to the next pronoun. Struggle with it and tell me what you guys think, okay? Here we go. Oh, Quemby? Maybe she's sort of there, sort of not there. Ah, there she went. Oliver, you're muted. You're muted. You're definitely still muted.
Sorry.
It's
I just arrived a minute ago, so I may not know what's happening so well,
Okay.
but I'm happy to join the breakout room if you want to put me in one.
Nah, you'd probably like go, what the hell? But this is what we were doing. We're doing a speaking exercise.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I got to bring everybody back now. And Melly, very quickly though, was that badly explained? Yes. Okay. It's because I'm thinking about 9 million things at the same time. Also, too, because I thought that everybody would understand a little bit better than most of my students. And I thought I'd skip over a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh. So it's kind of a drill for question and answer forms with B. Is that right?
If you wanted to put it into a context that is easy to understand, yeah, you could call it a drill. It's a little bit more than a drill, although I let people use that word. It's basically, think of it as batting practice. It's not.
Yeah, I don't have any biases against drills.
Good. Okay. Now I have come to.
Sorry, just one little thing that occurred to me. After we are, would you actually do they are, or would you do you plural are?
Okay. This time.
Just because in most languages, many European languages, that would be the case. English is a bit special in that way.
Do remember that this is not a conversation. Okay. And you do not need to bring any meaning into this. The practices themselves are designed for you to respond very, very quickly, almost in a Pavlovian way, to the fact that somebody just finished something and you have to respond quickly. Your brain has a limited set of variables that it has to play with. So don't try to bring too much meaning in this, because the answer to I am, are you is never you are. Okay. The answer to are you is always I am. But to create a pattern that is predictable for these kids that I can explain once, and then after maybe about 2 or 3 tries, like the struggles that you guys just had a few minutes ago, they go, oh, that's the pattern. And trust me, I know that I didn't explain that very well, okay, just now, but the way that I normally explain it in a classroom with these kids with a blackboard and with a lot more time, that was the very first difficult thing that you guys did with that. It does work. And if it doesn't work right now, it's just because I didn't explain it very well. And I feel bad for that, so I apologize. But this does work. So Bob, your question again was the answer to are we, or what was that? Bob, you're muted. This time Bob is muted and he's talking.
Sorry about that. Now, I was just thinking that you is both a singular and a plural.
Okay, now,
So,
now I do not want to get into grammar with these kids.
Yeah.
Asking the question, are you, with a singular or a plural context, requires the same grammar.
Yeah.
And when you get that instinct in your head that when you say you, then you need to conjugate it with are, that's all that I ask at this point.
Yeah.
There is really no need to get into putting in the plural you right here. Not at all. Not at all.
Jose, can I ask a question?
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, sorry. When you say it works, I'm curious as to what is your definition of it if it works? In other words, I'm not real clear on what the actual goal is and what the benefit is to the students in terms of it works. Could you explain a little bit?
I will. Let me see if I can still bring up that window.
I mean, in other words, what is this? Is the goal here to be teaching them subject pronouns, or is it general fluency? I'm not quite clear. So just a little bit of explanation would help.
Absolutely. The goal is fluency. So to answer that question, the pronoun,
right, okay.
The pronoun conjugation itself is one tool to fluency. And you are seeing one very, very small sliver of a window opening to what it is that I have them do in the classroom. And because I have like 15 hours that I have with these kids, and they're doing an awful lot more than just doing pronouns. They're doing mean length run practices. They're doing, oh no, what's that word? Conjunction practice. They're doing negative practice. But the first basic thing is that they have to know this this conjugation order. But let me show you where this goes, okay? Because I'm running out of time, and unfortunately, I was going to have you guys do a few more breakout rooms just so you can feel what they're doing. But I'm running out of time, so I'm going to answer Stephen's question by showing where these guys usually do end up with a little bit of practice. Let me see if I can, what's a good one? This is a good one. Okay, so let me just stop this for a second. I'm going to show you a share from that YouTube playlist that I was talking about just previously. Okay, now this is way in the middle of the actual video. This is from that playlist that I was talking about previously. So let's watch it.
And I want to show you something that looks really easy, but actually is quite hard to do. Okay. First, let's do this.
So imagine that they're already have been in my classroom for about 7 weeks. This is a very, very...
I can't see anything. There's nothing to see.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, are we meant to be looking at something?
You didn't select it.
Yeah, I did, and it was
We
playing.
heard it, but we didn't see anything.
I can see it. I saw your video.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, let's try
It's
that
a video
one
of him in the classroom. Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I couldn't see it.
okay, so let's try it again. Here we go, everybody.
Okay, now I see it.
You're going to get much faster. Okay. Same thing. I, you, he, she, it, we, they.
So now
I like English. Do you like English?
You like English. Does he like English?
He likes English. Does she like English?
She likes English. Does it like English?
It likes English. Do we like English?
We likes English. We like English. Do they like English?
Good. Do your best. Ready, go.
I'm not going to subject you to the din of the classroom, but the other goal that I have is that these kids start moving their mouths. One question that I ask my students at the very beginning is I ask them, try to do a very quick assessment of how much time you spent in high school per class actually speaking English. And on the average, these kids will admit that if they were in an average sort of situation, they were speaking in a 50-minute class, approximately 2 to 3 minutes. Speaking, not thinking about English, speaking, but speaking is the ultimate goal. If you do not speak, you're not going to learn. And then I asked my university students, what's the number? Your second-year students, what's it been? They'll say it's even less, literally 1 to 2 minutes. Now you multiply that over maybe 8 classes a week, that's still negligible. That's unimportant. If you compare it to how, let's say, a swimmer practices or a baseball player practices. And if you do not give these kids time to actually start moving their mouths, even with rudimentary sentences like this, okay, they're not going to get to speaking. Now, these kids are at a range of about 550 to 650 TOEIC. The kid that I just did the demonstration with was at about a 600 TOEIC, and he was having trouble speaking. Let's listen to this guy. He's really good too.
Do you like English?
I like English. 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 Do you like English?
Very nice. Do your best. Ready, go.
They start having fun when they speak because there's no way to fail. You're not throwing brand new sentences at them every time. If you're an imaginative instructor, you know how to turn that into something really fun. And I have never seen this many smiles on a lot of kids. And we paid them for the hour, 2 hours that they were there. We didn't pay them to smile.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Go, 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 go. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now, this answer, say it 2 times.
Actually, you
2
know what?
times.
Because this just gets confusing unless I actually explain it. I'm not even going to show it to you. But there is a lot here. And I wish I could show you more and more and more of this. But I also wanted to tell you a little bit of how I adjusted this to ERT. But I think because I want to open up to a lot of the questions that are probably going to be coming up, I think instead of showing you much more about it, I'll just explain it as the questions come up. But I'll give you this as a basic idea. Basically, it was a lot of breakout rooms. So instead of doing the pair work that you saw them where they were switching seats and moving around, I basically randomized the pair work in the breakout rooms. Sometimes if it was necessary, there'd be 3 to a room. And I told them, ready, go. And whenever I dropped into a room, and I swear to you, I'm not lying, they were all doing it. Sometimes it did take a little bit of work. Before we go, I see Steve is here. Steve, if you want to open up your mic and maybe comment a little bit on what I was saying and maybe your experience with it.
Yeah, I think, didn't I try it on in the Zoom before you did? Because I took a little sneaky...
Oops. Okay, I got to say this.
No, just a fun thing, right? I mean, I got there like a week before you or something, right? Because I started that up. I as an experiment. I set up my group, my students in breakout rooms. I got my iPhone, just put it here on me, so Jose could hear it but not see it for privacy and what have you. But so I had me saying, are you, he, she, were you, they, whatever it was. I say ready, set, go, and I'd sort of listen, and they'll be doing it, and I'm sitting here just smiling. I'm just beaming because it was working as well as it ever did in the classroom.
And it was Steve who actually told me by doing me that favor, that this carries over even into ERT. I was actually afraid of doing it. And then he showed me that it works. And he just told me it works every time.
Yeah.
There was another word.
Yeah, that must have been early on. That would have been early. That would have been sort of late April. I think I wanted to try it. And it's like, that was instantly, because I've been doing this for the last year. And instantly that was the thing. It's like, hey, it works pretty much as well as it would in a classroom. I mean, it's fine. It's fine to use. And I used it in one of my classes. I only had one class that I could use Zoom. And so I used it in that class to full advantage. I mean, really 20, 30 minutes. And my other classes I was using WebEx, so I couldn't do breakout rooms, so I didn't attempt it. But in the second semester, I will be using Zoom instead. I'm just breaking that rule, and I'm going to just use Zoom. I'm going rogue specifically, so I can do this sort of work because it's great. Yep.
A question was asked to me privately. Glenn, I'll be right with you. Everyone, if you could start using the raise hands button in the participants, because we're just about to open this up to open questions, but raise your hands in the participants list, and then Melody can help me sort out who's asking. But a question was asked to me, every what time? Jose, you keep saying every time. Every what time? Every time I have a class. Since 1997, I do maybe 15, 20 classes. And about 90% of them are my communication classes. And every time I introduce it, it has never, I say never, failed. From high-level classes to low-level classes. And I'm saying low-level, I'm talking about, monkey jumping up and down on a typewriter level of TOEIC score, 300, 350. Get it? And 350 on a TOEIC doesn't mean that this kid doesn't speak English. Okay? This means they're bad at TOEIC. But they might actually be able to speak. And with this, they get a chance to actually unleash it a little bit, have a little bit of fun with some of the exercises that I'm not going to be able to show you today. And in ERT, it works. You team it up with breakout rooms. You team it up with a set of slides that are like shown, that show the exercises that you're doing. Let me just show you really quickly the other exercises that I did. Okay, so it goes from there. Goes here, I do you do, does he. I show another video, or I do a deeper question practice, because deeper questions just involves an average verb, not an irregular verb, but a normal verb. I go, do you go. They have to get their head around the fact that it needs two verbs. I study, do you study. I exercise, do you exercise. Go on, I study English. Now we've got objects. We've got extended objects. We've got new verbs. We've got new verbs with new objects, etc., etc. They get to the point where they know these conjugations so well, I don't have to take up space to write them all. And I can make longer sentences. I think that's a good idea. I explained the idea that this is a complete subject, verb, object right here. And you can do that every time with think, etc., etc., etc. Negatives. You can go to compound verbs. I want, do you want, because then you just throw another verb in there. I want, do you want to eat, etc., etc., etc. If you have an article that you want them to read and you can see some useful phrases from that article, throw this up there for fluency practice, get them to read the article, and the stuff that they were saying out their mouths maybe 5 minutes ago is now something that's coming in their eyes or into their ears from the CD. So, because that took way longer than I thought it would, I don't want to take too much time away from Melody, but I also want to give you guys a chance to like pepper me with questions. I'm sure there's got to be a few. So raise your hands or just open up your mics and just have at it. Come at me, bros.
I came in a bit late. Where do we get those cards, or can we access these cards?
I'll get you a copy by making it available for download on OTJ, Mike.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, and then just adjust it any you want. It's on Pages, and just adjust it any way you like. Okay, Daniel.
Okay, yeah, I just had a quick question.
sorry. How much, like in your class or in your lesson, how much of the time is spent on these kind of drills?
If it wasn't for the shadow talking warm-up that I do, and because I know that they need a little bit of warming up, I would do it from start to end. And I do mostly do it from start to end. And they get to the point where they are as confused as you guys were at the very beginning. And at the end of the class, by the 14th to 15th week, they are capable of, in a group that they choose, maintain a 5-minute non-Japanese English-only conversation on topics on a list of 10 that has been chosen randomly for them. And when I say, okay, now talk about sports, ready, go. Through the 5 minutes, they're looking at each other, they're keeping their voices up, they're making themselves understood. Yeah, sometimes in bad grammar, but certainly at higher speed with higher rates of fluency because they're marked on that. And that was because I did it all the way through the class. Steve does it mostly as a bunch of warm-ups and maybe addendums to his work, but you are starting to write an entire textbook around it, eh, Steve?
Oh, no. Well, hang on, I'll skip that comment.
Okay,
and go back to and I was just going to jump into Daniel there and say, yeah, don't think that this has to be like all in or nothing. I spend maybe 20 minutes, but that 20 minutes usually turns into 30 because they're enjoying it and they're having fun. And what I tend to do is sort of structure it from a really easy one, just because I haven't seen them for a week. This is going back to the sort of classroom days, right? You know, a really easy when I was, where you were, was he, and do that for a bit, and then just build up. And I like to go longer sentences until you get to the sort of jackpot of something that's sort of fun and really raucous of like, where are you? I'm in the classroom on level 6 of the A building at Fukuoka University. Where is he? He's in they have a ball. Like they fall over themselves sometimes, but I do it as a warm up. Is what I'm saying. I can spend as little as 20 minutes or never really more than 30. So it's not an all in.
I have a few hands up. Douglas Jarrell or Jarrell.
Yes, thank you. This is more of a comment than an actual question, because I've been using Zoom for the first semester, and my problem is that I go into breakout rooms, and unless I've given them all the questions, they won't continue. And even if I give them all the questions, when they get to the end of the questions, there's silence. So thank you very much. This has given me a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, I don't know if the discussion is mostly about how to conduct breakout rooms, but I can tell you that one of the strengths of SCVC, or what I'm talking about here, is that if you start from I, you, he, she, it, we, they, literally, they're bouncing that off each other, you are getting them into a mindset. It's like you're training a dog to sit when you give it a treat. That when you bring them into a breakout room, they know that they will not fail, that this teacher has planned this out for them so that if they just do as they're told, they will not fail. They will not lose face. They will not look like an idiot in front of each other. And sometimes I think where some teaching methods can fail is they're asking the student to do too much and throwing way too many variables in front of them because they think, oh, well, you graduated high school, you must know all of that. Assume that they know nothing. Assume that they're studying Russian and you're a Russian teacher. You have to begin from there because these kids have, in some cases, been so badly taught, they have a completely back-ass ideas of, as to how English works. Keep the variables down to what you asked for them to do in each breakout room, and yeah, I think you will have more success.
Okay, we have a question from Eric Hagley who asks, how do you assess the fluency? You mentioned words per minute. Do you record their conversations? That's something that actually became an advantage in ERT because I also teamed this up with them doing selfie videos. I'll explain that a little bit more later, maybe if we have time after we help Melody out. But using these selfie videos, I asked them to self-assess. I told them, submit the video to me so I know what it is that you're assessing. Take 1 minute of that video, okay? Sit down with it and using a tool that I found as an app, a free app that you can get for your phone. It's a counter, a very, very simple counter. You tap it once, it'll raise the count number 1. And count yourself over that minute and how many words did you say over that minute.
And if it's going up, then it's going up. And then we have sometimes you can make a test out of it, which I didn't do because I didn't want to make a test out of that. I wanted to basically make it a little bit more rounded where there was communication. Are they looking at the camera's eyes, the camera's lens, I should say? Are they gesturing? Are they smiling? Those are all really important points in communication too. But if you wanted to focus just on fluency, the great thing about this is that you have a set bar. Okay, you want to get an A, you have to get 130 words. You want to get a B, you have to get 110 words. You get a C at maybe 80, 90. Come on, you can do at least 90 or you're going to get a D. Or whatever you think arbitrarily is good for that class. And Fluency can afford you that. If you want to get down into the really hard tax of it and measuring mean length runs, which is a really hard analytical thing to do, you really got to listen to that, which I didn't want to do. And I don't think any of my kids would want to do. I can use that too. But just using speed, getting them to talk faster, I think is something that you can do because you've got video, you've got audio, you've got counters. Sorry, my thumb is there. You've got counters, and you've got them to self-assess. You can also do them in pairs, help them assess each other.
Okay, I have a question from Glenn. After how many classes do you see that they are able to hold those 5-minute conversations?
I will not lie and tell you that they can all do it. I do fail some students, and that's only because I think most of the time it's a psychological problem or a non-preparation problem. The kids who actually did go through the curriculum and did what I was asking them to do in the class, they did okay. When they can start doing it, I would probably say some of them, well, depending on the class, sometimes I really speed things up and I bring them into a midterm test, and then we can do other things going from the midterm test. I mean, most of my average classes, they would need probably up to the 11th week. And from the 11th week, we do other exercises. For example, see if I can bring it up here. Here it is. Here's a really fun exercise that anybody can do. It's called
Jose, what was the range of TOEIC on these kids?
I'm sorry, Glenn?
What was the range of TOEIC scores for the kids?
Okay, those kids that you were watching, they were about 550 to 650. But I do exactly the same thing with any kids that I have. I'm talking about university. So these are, of course, university kids, but I've had university kids as low as 250. Another magical thing that works for you is that you are in a class and you are not working one-to-one with these kids, and they are not working one-to-one with even you. They're working one-to-one with their peers. And they are less afraid to make a mistake in front of their peers sometimes than they are in front of you. Now, yes, I do demonstrations with one kid at the front to show the others what it is that I expect, and everybody has their turn doing that. But the bulk of the work that they do is with each other. So even these low-level kids get a chance, and again, from a no-fail scenario, to work the scaffold all the way up to what Steve was talking about. So here's an exercise that you can do, that I do to prepare them for the test. It's called the word throw. And it's very simple. The diagram looks just like that on the blackboard, and the explanation is, Melody, you want to do this with me? Just you and me?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Basically, I say one English word, you say an English word. It has to be different from mine, and I also cannot repeat yours. You have to say your word as soon as I'm finished with mine, and I will say my word as soon as you are finished with yours. You okay?
Okay.
Okay, yep. Here we go. Okay. Tennis.
Cat.
Fork.
Jump.
Man.
Hair.
Camera.
Door.
See, it's getting harder and harder, right? So what's involved here is not grammar. It is not vocabulary. It is the capacity for your brain to think quickly of keywords. This is actually harder than giving out sentences. I've asked kids to self-assess. What was harder, the word throw or the sentence throw? Oh yeah, the word throw was way harder, Mr. Cruz, because you have to come up with a complete new image every time. Whereas grammar, a lot of it is extraneous to the central idea. And it's stuff that just basically comes out of you. But this is good, and then you raise the level. 2 words, and they can be disassociated from each other, or they can be associated from each other. And then there's a whole bunch of scaffolding. But that's the sort of thing that I also call part of the no-fail scenario.
Okay, we've hit 2 o'clock.
I'm really sorry, guys. I didn't think it would take that long.
Well, I'll take one more question, which is from Madeline. She wants to know what the app is that you talked about.
It is called Countess, and I was just about to share to show you via cable. Come on, baby. And it is here. Whoops. Okay. So do you see right there, Countess? Okay. And do you see the title under it? Countess. It's an iPhone app, but I believe it also has an Android counterpart. Click on it. Very, very simple. There's a clear button right down at the bottom left. Hit that. You clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tap it and it counts. Totally free. Totally useful for what you're doing.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why don't we take a break?
Thank you, Jose. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then please come back and help me. I beg you.
I don't think you have to beg this. Teachers, they like to talk.
No, they're disappearing like dropping like flies.
No, they're not. Does that say
5 minutes?
Does that say 32? Holy cow. That's my
Please,
biggest Zoom
please
audience.
be here.
Wow. Okay, yeah, 5 minutes. So we're starting back up at 14:05, everyone?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm getting my
14:05.
glass of water.
Yep.
Those of us that really love you, Mel, are going to stay.
Thank you.
She's not, though. I think she's going to go get a glass of water. But
I'm going to
gonna-
get a glass of water.
You can deal with me, though, or you can leave because I'm still here, or you can ask me questions.
I need a different kind of break.
I will take that break shortly. Anybody? Steve, buddy, thanks a lot for showing up and helping me out, man.
Not at all, man. I'm a drilling fan.
Yep.
In fact, I haven't told you about my Japanese drills I'm making. That's a different topic, but yeah, I figured out a couple of things about how to drill Japanese.
I want to hear
in a way
about that.
I
wanna
wish.
hear about that.
Well, that'd be a huge plug. But no, not quite ready yet. I'm making videos for that now.
Got it.
But,
Got it.
Yeah. Now drill, but look, yeah, the Kihon Teki, the basic thing here is the drilling, drilling. It works. I love it. I that's how I learn.
It gets a really, really undeserved. It's almost offensive.
Oh,
how
yeah.
people go
Yeah.
on about, oh, drills are out. Oh, let's get free conversation.
No.
What?
Mm-mm.
Can't you have figured out by now that doesn't work when these kids don't have
Mm.
the basics kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm making Japanese drills is for myself, but because I never got, when I came to Japan 12 years ago now, I never really nailed the fundamentals of verb conjugations, because there's 9 different Godan verb endings and 2 Ichidan endings, and then the irregulars. And, it's ga wanai, aruku, arukanai, there's that wa and the ka, and they're all, actually, that's the easy one. That's base 1 conjugation.
I was going to say, that's not
when you get to the ta and the tek conjugations, then it's much more complicated. And and how do you drill that, right? How do you drill it? How do you make word cards with drills on it, right? I figured it out. I have figured it out, and it's
You are the
unreal.
man. You were the man.
I figured it out over Christmas, and it's not ready yet. But if you're JapaneseLanguageDrills.com, check it out. It's not polished yet, but I'm working on it.
Excuse me.
Yeah, there's a little plug. But I made these things over Christmas. So I started making them over Christmas and just checking it out. It uses Quizlet. And I'm walking down the street drilling Japanese grammar. It's unreal. And it's just clearing up my head, I say to students when we're doing these English drills, okay, what they should be doing is, and I take out like old headphones, like with cabled headphones, and they're always in a big bunch, right? The feeling you get when you're drilling something and you're getting it is like untangling your headphone cable.
Yeah.
It's like, finally, it's like, oh, there it is. That's what it's meant to look like.
That's actually a really good
get it.
analogy.
Yeah, no, truly.
That
because-
actually works. That is that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. But there I was drilling the, no, go on.
I just wanted, sorry, Steve, before I forget, and we start up again, I put in the chat my YouTube playlist to that demonstration class. The demonstration class itself went over 2 hours. Trust me, that 2 hours was only about half of what I do over a 15-hour session. It was very compact, and some of it.
That's a Zoom link.
A Zoom meeting link here, right? Yeah.
How did that happen? Okay, this
Adam, your picture is killing
is
me.
going to ruin my reputation for being the guy that kind of knows what he's doing when he's doing a Zoom meeting. Okay, let's try that. Okay, I'm going to go pee because this is just embarrassing. All righty, see you in a bit. But you can start up, Mel, if you want to start.
can
up on your explanation.
You're not here to help me, you bastard.
Oh well, how unreliable I am. I'll be right back.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I I had put off a class I was supposed to teach in first semester. It's called Principles of Language Teaching. And basically, the class is geared for, but not limited to, students in our Kyoshoku program who want to become junior and senior high school teachers of English. And I use ABAX's book. I don't have it at home with me and I can't remember the name of it. I had put the class off. I usually, because when we were doing ERT, suddenly I thought, oh my God, this is a workshop. I don't know how to do this online at that point. I do know I could probably do some things online, but I'm hoping you'll help me. But the other issue is that my university says that Niigata doesn't have so many cases of COVID as other places. So as long as we're staying at level 2, they're thinking to probably bring us back to face-to-face classes. But this is mostly a workshop kind of class, so I have to figure out how to do the activities. So I'm really just wanting HiveMind help, and I'm gonna just be typing in stuff. So basically, I made a grid of the kinds of things that I do in the class, and I want to pick your brains. Just call them out, just shout them out, and I'm gonna type them in, and then we'll make this available to everybody. So, for example, the first thing I have here is choosing course books. This is an activity recommended in the textbook that I use. Usually I just bring in a stack of catalogs and I give students some criteria, like your students are a certain age and they're going on a homestay. Please find a textbook that will suit them. Or your students have to pass a certain test. Please find, and they're this age, please find a textbook that will suit them. And basically what I would do is I'd always have a stack of those catalogs that they send us from the publishers for free. This is a great thing I could do with them before throwing them away. And I would give out the catalogs to the students and they would work in groups and they would read the different you know, the different stuff about the different kinds of books and choose a book in their group, and then they would explain what book they chose and why. Now, we were talking about this, Jose and I and some other people were talking about this kind of thing that, you know, now I could just give the students a list of publishers, websites and say, go look, and actually they can, it's even better than a catalog in a way because they can look at the books and they can look inside the books, maybe a little bit more than they can do in a catalog. But what I need to know is if I'm going to do face-to-face and have them all sitting separately from each other in my class, do I have to have one catalog for each student? Do I have to bring disinfectant to class and wipe everything before I hand it to them? Please share your ideas. So I'd like to start with that one and then make my way through the lists of different things. I'll explain what I usually do and then please give me some ideas.
Top of my head, Mel.
Yes, Glenn.
Why not have them do the online search when you're in the physical classroom? Give them a certain time limit, maybe put them in a breakout room with a pair to do it together, but they need to decide what they're looking at first.
Yeah.
You know, set up some rules, which makes it smoother for them. But
okay, so I could like, let's see, so online search in physical classroom, I could mail them a list of publishers and assign, and then students use Zoom in class.
one caution I would give you is you should probably look up those websites first and see that the link that you give them takes them exactly where they need to go, or if it's kind of complicated to navigate.
Okay, thank
Now,
you. Yes.
Can I ask about your hardware setup in the room?
Yes.
I got the waiting room, don't worry. Your hardware setup in the room, have you got Wi-Fi in the room?
Yes.
Have you got a projector in the room?
Yes.
And does that projector easily connect to your main teacher's hardware, if it's an iPad?
I would be using my computer, yes.
Okay, and the projector connects to it easily?
Yes.
And you generally sit at your desk or your lectern while you're talking to everyone, or do you move around the
Yes.
students? You don't
I move around when they're working in groups, but I won't be doing that in face-to-face.
Okay. Do you need the students to display anything to each other? So for example, could their iPhones or Androids perhaps connect with the projector? Do you know if that's possible?
That would be hard to do. We don't have dongles in all the rooms depending on the computer, and I don't know if I want them touching my computer.
Right.
So I would have the list of the links, so then I could show the link and flip through it, and one member of the group could talk about it.
Do you ever do anything like Line or shared SNS with them?
No.
Okay.
Facebook, yeah.
Okay, so if you do Facebook with them, what they can do is find a link, throw that up on the Facebook group. You see it on the Facebook group. You can throw it up on the projector from your computer.
Okay. But I mean, I would be giving them, yeah, that's true. Okay, Facebook links. Okay, yes, yes.
Right? And
that's
then
a
in
great
Facebook,
idea.
they're there for posterity, right?
Yep, yeah.
And
No,
everyone, why don't you
Mel.
start, sorry, everyone, just as we start getting more heavily into people's ideas, as they start getting ready to say them, don't forget, we're also watching the participants list for raised hands, so if you could raise your hands.
Yeah, please raise your hand.
Steve,
and
Steve, I think
Jose's
you had
gonna
an
do that.
idea there. Steve?
Yeah, if you're running Zoom in the classroom, based on the previous conversation, you could just, if you have Zoom on the teacher's laptop, the students could share their phone or whatever, and you're
Yeah.
just projecting whatever's being shared on Zoom.
Is it gonna be noisy though?
Noisy. Oh,
I'm a
'cause
bit
customers
concerned
don't
about
like
that if they're all talking into their phones at the same time, even though
Okay,
they're
so
spread out in the class. Has
I was-
anyone tried it?
Tried it? No. But here's what I considered, that they do have to bring their headphones. They have to bring their headphones. And everyone, because even if you tried to whisper and you've got somebody 2 meters away, that whisper can be picked up and that can create a digital
That's
howl.
brilliant.
They have
Yes.
to use their headphones. And some of them,
Okay.
Mel, because it's true, from the iPhone 8, headphones were not supplied with those phones. And some kids don't
Yes.
actually use them for music. You have to
Yeah.
make sure that they have headphones before you start doing this will
Okay,
be part of the
brilliant.
curriculum.
Thank you, thank you. These are great ideas. I think there's some more
Yep,
hands
John
up.
Helwig has an idea. John, open up your mic, bud.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on.
You're on.
Basically, yeah. What I make my suggestion for my students when they display things is you're only at 100% here, and your form is a little bit small. Can you go to 120, 130%? Expand that out so that it makes it easier to read.
Okay.
Bottom right hand corner. Use the plus button at the bottom right hand corner.
Oh, plus button, hang on, at the bottom right hand corner. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
On your Word,
Yep.
at the bottom right hand corner, it says at very bottom it says 100%. To the left of that it says plus. Hit the
Oh,
plus
yes,
button
yes,
a couple
yes,
times.
yes.
There you
There you go. There you
Is
go.
that better?
Much easier to read.
For you poor old guys with no gun.
That's
like
us.
like me. Okay. Okay, I think that probably covers that. The next thing is the students have to make lessons. Usually I give them a textbook and I have them choose a chapter and create a lesson based on some kind of topic that we're talking about. And then they go in front of the class and they present to the class. Now again, what am I going to do? What I do is I bring a cart full of textbooks to the class and hand them out. Can I get like whole digital textbooks? What can I do to get some textbook chapters?
I thought you were using catalogs, or is that for the other thing?
This is the next one.
This is the next thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Melody.
Yes.
This is Michael. In April and May, a lot of my textbooks I was able to get the first couple of chapters.
Okay.
I've got the reading Reading Explorer. I was able to get the first couple chapters. And Curtis, Writing from Within, there's the first couple of chapters. So I think maybe many of the publishers had made those chapters available. I can send you my copies if they're not available from
That would be wonderful. Thank you. And then I could just put the PDFs of those in Google Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of ABEX's, Al has put most of that online too.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm actually, it's their textbook that my class is based on, so I wouldn't feel guilty. Okay, so that I could
Melanie,
do online. Yes.
Oxford
Bill.
University Press also has online versions of textbooks, but they're not like PDFs. They're more of a, you log in and it's an interactive teacher's book, you know, show the students the answers and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Many places though, like Savido, they have the first chapter of almost every book that they have online. So.
Okay. Okay, so this is an interactive thing. Okay, now if I have to do this social distancing, creating and presenting lessons. So same thing, I would send, the students could open Google Drive from whatever they're using, or I could ask them for homework to download something. Okay.
Don't forget, folks, lots of ideas are going to be popping up. If you throw your hand up, you're probably going to get priority.
Okay, so I could do the same thing. It's just download the chapters. Okay. Now, what about when they're presenting their lesson plans to the class as a group? So it's the same kind of thing. I'd have maybe 4 or 5 students would get the same file, and then they'd wear headphones so they could talk to each other in Zoom and choose one person to present to the class. That's cool.
And you could, from your computer, put, you're in a hybrid class, Melody? You've got some in the classroom and some on Zoom? Or they're all on Zoom in the classroom?
It seems like it's going to be all or nothing. They haven't decided yet.
Okay. Well then.
But if you have ideas for hybrid, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, this could work either for hybrid or all or nothing. So either hybrid, synchronous, non-face-to-face, or face-to-face with Zoom.
Okay.
This could work. Basically, they're all going to be on Zoom wherever they are. And it would be nice, I think, or maybe some kids would find it terrifying, to be on their phone's camera presenting, and simultaneously, because you're on Zoom with them, your Zoom window will go up on the projector and you get a great big image of them on the projector. Because you have to be on Zoom with them anyway, and just might give them, you know.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's a wonderful idea. And yes, that works with asynchronous classes.
Works in every situation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Because that's a thing where they could, you know, get together on their own and do the work. Because instead of doing it in class, yeah, that would be good.
And if you were in a hybrid situation, I'll get to Douglas and John. Don't worry, guys. Sure. If you were in a hybrid situation, if one kid was in the classroom, another kid was in the classroom, but they were both on the same presentation list, everybody else would turn off their cameras. Those 2 kids would be up there. One of them would be sharing the screen, and their images would be up on the big presentation screen.
Right. Right.
Okay, questions from John Helwig. You're up first, bud.
Okay, just a comment. For my students, when they do presentations for their group work, they make a PDF, a PowerPoint file, and they download that file to me, and then they share it on Zoom. But you know that's basically you could have them do the PowerPoint file offline or as a group, and then one of them you know, as it was discussed, one of them shares and one of them, you know,
So
maybe.
that actually because in online they can just share in the Zoom easily, but for the synchronous.
Well, for the synchronous, they would have to be done before class.
Yes.
And they would have to download the file to you or to someplace, and then you would show it on the screen.
And they could talk about it.
And then they would talk about it.
That's a great idea. I mean, the other thing is to give students control of the screen too. I could do that on Zoom. But yes, that's great. For a whole class, that would be better. And actually, that would work really well on the projector because everyone's going to be spread out in the room and then everyone can see easily on the big screen and feel like we're together.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Community. Douglas
Okay.
Carroll.
Sorry.
You're up, Doug.
Oh, I was just wondering if there's any possibilities with Flipgrid. I've been using Flipgrid, but Flipgrid is basically for single-person presentations, I imagine. However, whatever you do, you put it up and everyone can see it. So that's the beauty of Flipgrid.
Okay. I haven't used it, but I'm not averse to trying new things.
The thing is that it's not, I'm not sure if it's really for group work. It's great for individual presentations.
Right.
And they also use it for peer reviewing each other?
That's right.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's very good for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it here. Flipgrid. Individual. Okay, the next one. Now, something that I do is I give examples of tasks to students, and they do the task together.
Got it.
Got it. Thanks. So usually they do it in pairs or small groups. So some of them the tasks are listed below. I don't know how I can do that. I guess I can send, because I have prints of everything, so I can put everything in the Google Drive. I can put the whole file in the Google Drive and then just tell them which pages they need to download. How could I do that kind of thing, though, in the classroom where they can't get together?
Can you give us an example of some of these tasks as you've given in the past, Melody?
Okay, so for example, let's see, I've given a list down here. So Jigsaw Reading. So I might give the students, okay, no, here's one. It's called 5 Hard and 5 Easy Questions. So I give a text to the students and they sit in a group and I ask them 5 easy questions about the text, and they get one text, they read it together, and then I ask the questions and they give me the answers. And then I give them 5 more challenging questions. It's when you have a multi-level class. It's a kind of activity for a multi-level class.
Paul Rain, are you still here, buddy?
Guess not.
Wow, that's embarrassing. Because I was
okay.
about to ask him to maybe see if he got anything on teacher tools that might be useful.
Okay.
Because there's a guy there who probably has thought about how he could digitalize some of these
No problem.
things. Glenn Hill.
I use the big blue button in Moodle, but this will work for Zoom because you've got the chat. I don't know how you're asking the students in an online situation to answer you, but you could just, to save time, tell them, whoever's got the answer, type it into the text.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I do. We've got a different sort of text thing in the big blue button, but that way the shy people can be quiet and the other ones can try.
Yeah. But I would have them do it. I could, like, usually I ask them to choose one person from the group to be the speaker for the group. And they have to change that every time. So I guess here again, put the activities on Zoom. So Zoom and Google Drive. So same kind of thing. So I think, I'm seeing a pattern now. Okay, the next one, role plays. So the students they'll get like a text about something. Usually it's one of those Japanese textbooks. Oh, that's a question I want to know. When we're talking about getting textbook chapters from websites, can I get those from Japanese junior and senior high school textbooks, do you think? Or do I have to scan them myself? Does anyone know?
So I'm sorry, Melody, when you say when I get them, what are you looking for? Specific chapters or pages, or you want to get something from a Japanese high school?
Yeah, usually I take activities from Japanese textbooks. And I have as we go through the semester, I'm teaching the students how to take like a reading text and turn it into a speaking activity. I'm trying to get them to take a grammar text and turn it into a speaking activity. I'm trying to get them to make the activities from the textbooks, which are largely non-communicative, make them communicative.
Well, these kids at home have a plethora of high school textbooks. And they're just
bring their own textbooks in.
Yeah, and then they explain why they chose this dialogue, because they hated it or they loved it or because they learned something good from it. They got
great idea. Great idea. Then
and
I
you
don't
have to bring anything. They already do. Now, some of them will not be living at home, and that's where they kept their high school textbooks. But maybe you could make it a thing where, like, get your mom to mail you one, or
okay,
or what? There's got to be. Is your library open? Is your uni library open?
Yes, it is.
Are there any?
And I have some, so I could scan some chapters myself.
To help some of the kids who just for whatever reason don't have anything at hand. But most of these, I'd say 65% are probably still living at home, and they'll have their high school textbooks there.
Yeah, okay. So that's great. Now, getting them to create and perform a script, can I do that?
Why not? You were able to do it before and face-to-face, right?
Face-to-face.
Put them in
I guess I'd have to make sure they all have the same readings. I'm wondering if I'm going to have to just scan the chapters and if I want to kind of control it, I guess.
Why not take some of the submissions that they had from their high school textbooks, choose one that is like, oh, this is going to be great for everybody, and use that one.
Yeah, or maybe fewer options. Make my life easier. Bill's hands up.
Yeah, one thing I did with in one of my classes is that they make their own conversation based on a conversation I've provided them, and I've also provided them with options in the conversation. So then they make their own. So it's sort of similar. But what I do is I put them in a breakout room for about 5 to 10 minutes, and they all have their own Google document. And so as they work together, they each type on their Google document. If class is smaller, you could actually get them to share a Google document with each other.
This class
write it on that.
Yeah, I never know how many, but it's a popular class actually. It's an elective, and anywhere from 20 to 25 students.
Yeah, I had like 40, so I didn't want to make 20 documents and figure out, because it's hard enough to figure out the random partnerships and upload them beforehand.
We have a couple of comments on textbooks in the chat, and I'll just read them out to you.
Yes.
So I said that, oh, these kids will have their textbooks at home. Teresa says, well, sometimes mom throws them out, or sometimes they just throw them out because they don't have enough space. So consider that maybe I'm overestimating the number of kids who'll actually have them. From, Yoshiko Sensei, also there are many kinds and choices up to the teachers who choose. I guess we're talking about textbooks.
Yes.
Hera says, teachers have access to online versions. Can't your university library get hold of them?
The online versions of the Japanese textbooks. Okay.
Mary, you want to clarify
find
that?
out.
Maybe I don't know if I got that across. Want to open up your mic, Marion? Maybe she, no, she's here.
Okay.
But her camera's off, so maybe she stepped away for a bit.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
keep going.
All right. So role plays now.
Melody?
Yes.
Yeah, I think certainly in junior high school, they're very, very online. I mean, they have all kinds of resources.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm not so sure about the high school, but why not just ask a local school?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I have 6. I have my own. And I guess if we're face to face, I can just wipe them off but I would rather they had, I think what I probably end up doing is scanning.
So you can scan and have the text available.
I'm going to scan and have the text available, yeah.
That's pretty easy then.
That's probably the easiest. Scan
By the way,
text of them.
I wouldn't wipe those off with disinfectant. You'll do just as well leaving them in the sun.
Okay.
Flip through the pages under a bright sun.
Okay.
That'll kill the virus real good. If you start wiping that off.
Well, I'll just try and get everything online so the students can just download it. It's probably better.
Mel, if you're ever going to do handouts, so in a face-to-face class, buy a laminator.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
no, I think I'm not going to do any handouts. Yeah. This past semester for online, there were no handouts. They asked for handouts at the beginning. They told us to send the class outline and any resources that we usually would provide outside the textbook. So we had to send everything. But I think they don't want us to do it this time. And certainly all the first year students have done Zoom now, and they're all familiar with Google Drive and stuff. So I think it'll be less of an, but this is a class for third year students. So I'm expecting them to be a little more literate, I hope.
The other problem with using student textbooks is they probably wrote in them.
Yeah.
And so getting a clean copy would be a problem.
Now, how could I, in a face-to-face class, how can they do a role play when they can't be close together? Zoom. How can they do a role play for everyone? Does anyone have an idea?
Zoom. Still use Zoom. Zoom.
Through Zoom. Okay.
Yeah, so they're there in the room, but you've got to, let's say it's a hybrid class, you've got to pair everybody up so they go into breakout rooms, but Zoom takes care of that for you. If there are 2 kids within the hybrid class that are in a face-to-face mode with you, then they get paired off in Zoom and they go, oh, hey, great, you're here right now. They get paired off, but they have to stay away from each other because they can still get microphone howl.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, like, the role play is usually about 4 students. What they get is they get a reading and they have to act it out.
Well, that's fine. They can still hear each. Well, if they're in Zoom, they'll get paired off by Zoom. They'll be told by Zoom that the breakout room is over. But just for that moment, they could take off their headphones and just talk to each other from a 1.5 meter distance, 2 meters distance. They can have the luxury of having all 4 of them. Oh, this is so nice. We can take off our headphones and talk to each other normally. Then Zoom will tell them, oh, breakout rooms are up. Let's go. And they get repaired. And this time there's 1 person or 3 people who are not there with them. And then, they have to go back into headphone mode.
This is a question. Is it possible to take a breakout room and put it in the, like, to show what's happening in the breakout room on Zoom?
Yes, you would go into the breakout room and throw it up on the projector.
So I could do that.
And everybody could see just
that. So I would go in the room and then everyone can see it.
But then remember, you would lose sight of all the other kids who are not face-to-face with you.
Okay, I get it.
Mel, what you might do, though, is have them in their breakout rooms, give them a little chance to practice. Hell, you might even have some of the groups physically standing outside of the room down the hall.
That's true. I could tell them, use your space. Yeah.
And then once you've told them, look, you're going to get 10 minutes to practice, and then I'm going to call on you.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know how you would arrange it physically, but you could tell them, okay, now everybody come back to the room except the people who are presenting.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That could be really fun. That could turn into a really fun drama. That's a great idea. Thanks, Glenn.
Just make sure they come back.
Okay, next I have Jigsaw Reading. So usually I will hand out, 4 different parts and with questions. Everyone will get a sheet full of questions. And then each group will have a different set, will have a different part of a text. They will answer their questions, and then they will get together and share their questions and answers with other groups until everybody has the whole thing. So I guess I could do that in Zoom rooms. I could just assign the Zoom rooms and send the file to that group. And then here the same thing.
They're answering the questions on their own page?
Yes. So maybe 4 of them, like I put them in a group, let's say group 1, there's 4 students in there, and they would get one text and the questions, and they would take some time to answer their questions. Then I could mix up the groups later, and then they share their questions and answers with each other. That would probably work really well.
I was thinking more of an info gap thing, but I've never done jigsaws.
That's the next thing, is the infogap.
Yeah, I see that.
It's kind of the same, yeah. Okay, so we'll say Zoom rooms for those 2 Zoom rooms. So, yes.
One idea, if you want to be more intentional when you're mixing up the students.
Yes.
Within, say, the first breakout room, if you put them into a breakout room, and then we have to rename themselves. So I'll be number 1, you'll be number 2, number 3, number 4, and then you can recreate breakout rooms based on the numbers.
Oh, great idea.
Nice.
Use numbers. Ooh. Ah! Instead of names. Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and if you have them put that number first, then in the participants list, Google will sort them for you.
Oh.
And when you go to the breakout rooms, you can easily see who's going to be in which room, and you can easily move them into their new. It takes a minute or 3, but it can be done.
Oh, that's
if they put the group number as the first number in their name.
Right. So their name plus 1 or something like that.
Well, the number and then their name.
Oh, the number first.
Yeah, so the number shows up first.
So it would be like
1 Takashi, 1 Kyoko.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's great. Thank you. What a great hint. Playing games. So we do like vocabulary. I think this kind of thing I should instead of doing in the junior high schools and the high schools, are they using tech? Like I could use this to teach tech, use this as an opportunity to teach like Paul Rain's stuff and other websites that students can use.
I think it really, sorry, Mel. I think it really depends on the school, depending on how techy the school is or how much money the school has. Sometimes schools don't even bother to teach kids what a URL is.
Okay.
But some kids are very, very.
Oh, that's true. And the kids won't have they won't have cell phones in junior high school or high school anyway. So
it depends on the school.
They'd have to go to the lab, I guess, to do that kind of stuff. Okay, so really if I wanted to do games with students, and we've done like we did like, for example, Pictionary. And I would have the students come up to the board and they would be in physical groups and then they'd have to draw. But could I do that? Is there a way to?
Yeah, you could use the whiteboard function.
Okay.
Yeah, in Zoom. I don't know if it's in the free version, but it's in the licensed version.
It's in the free version.
Yeah, there's a whiteboard function, and they can use it in the breakout rooms. So.
Oh, they can do it. Okay.
Did you need them though to see what each other had drawn?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the thing.
Here's the thing. Go to G Suite, go to Google Drive. There's a new app in there called Jamboard, Jamboard. And that is what you need. You call up Jamboard, you bring up a Jamboard that everybody can see, or they make specific Jamboards for their specific breakout rooms. But those Jamboards are not attached to their particular breakout rooms. It is attached only to that URL, and they can show it around when they're done.
Okay, that's a great thing. And then I can do that here too when they're in the class.
Yeah, Jamboard is great. That solved a lot of problems when people were asking.
Thank you. Because then we can play, we can do, like the games we usually do are Blackboard games. Like,
Hangman.
Like I said, Pictionary, X's and O's with vocabulary. Yeah, different kind of physical games. But if we have a board, we can do that.
How about a vocabulary bingo? Each student creates their own card based on vocabulary list. So it's all randomized.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And then one of them gets to be the leader, or you could as a teacher, and you read the definitions.
Student created lists. Yeah.
So they make their
See,
own.
what I'm trying to do is teach them how to do these things. Like, yeah, but that would be great because then they would have to make the thing themselves.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Also remember to, sorry, Glenn, go. Okay. Also remember to, okay, damn. I was just about to say that Charlie Brown is going to be talking about how he uses Quizlet and Memrise and other vocabulary apps in his presentation. So maybe.
But the thing is, I don't know if I could, if junior high school and I'm teaching my students to teach junior high school and high school students. So that's, yeah. It's not that I'm teaching them to use these things for themselves.
Others, right.
Yeah, so no, that's great. I mean, I want to know how to do that for myself.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about that parameter.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Any other ideas out there?
Hangman.
Any other hands up?
Hangman.
Hangman?
I thought that was politically incorrect now. I realized that when I...
Spelling, you have a word and you give them, the number of things, the number of spaces, and they, maybe choose an obscure definition of the thing instead of the more common definition of the word, and then have them guess the letters, and you put the letters up there, and if they don't get the letter, then they hang the person. So.
Yeah, like Jose said though, like instead of the hangman, instead of the picture being a hangman, you can make it something else. So the picture could be whatever you like. I've done it before. And for example, it was a witch around Halloween, or it was some kind of Christmas related thing around Christmas time.
Santa Claus, reindeer.
But the thing is, I'm not looking for, I mean, these are great ideas. I'm not looking for the games, but I'm looking for how can I do them either online or, but so this Jamboard thing, that sounds like I can use that as a multifunctional platform. I can do all kinds of things on that.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. Thank you for the games. I already do a lot of these kinds of things.
Well, the other thing is PowerPoint. You can, somebody has a PowerPoint and they're typing, you or the leader is typing the thing in, keeping track of what the students are doing. So, and then everyone else can see, they're sharing their PowerPoint and they can see what you're doing.
Right.
So that's a possibility too.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last one I have here is to find someone who, and the students have to, walk around and ask questions. Now, yes, they can do that by Zoom, and I guess now they could do that by Zoom here too, in Zoom rooms if they have headphones. That idea of headphones just kind of is such a simple fix. It was like, oh, yeah.
I feel bad for the people who aren't going to realize that the first time, because it's going to pierce everyone's ears.
Yeah.
The microphone howl that's going to occur.
So when I'm making up my requirements for the class, please bring to class your smartphone or your computer and your headphones.
And remember, you got to tell them they have to be microphone equipped headphones. They can't just be regular headphones.
Okay.
Be microphone headphones.
Okay. Where did we start that? Oh, headphones.
Yeah, and if you're sharing this document on OTJ, then you make that comment there, or maybe highlight it in color or something like that, so they know it. Without the microphones, you're going to make ungodly noise. So.
Okay. I'm just moving you guys out of the way so I can do this.
For your find someone who activity,
yes.
Are you creating the questions or letting the students?
Well, usually I do it, but they have to do one too for their portfolio. So I usually just, you know, show them, I may make a simple find someone who, but again, I guess I could just say, download this paper and then ask the questions in your Zoom room and then have them keep changing Zoom rooms and asking different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mel, I just added a link. There's a nice overview from someone who's adapted Find Someone Who to Zoom.
Oh, yes?
With groups. Yeah, so I added it in chat. Check it out later.
Oh, you're an angel.
Mm.
Okay. I guess the last thing is my final assessment is, it's an essay, which is easy enough to do, and a portfolio. I have them do a portfolio. As we go, they have to make lesson plans, and I do send them a template. They fill out the lesson plan, but they have to provide the materials. But that's kind of hard now, unless they have scanners. They used to just photocopy the pages from the textbook.
They have
created something.
They have a scanner.
Yeah,
It's called
in
a phone.
Yeah, their phone.
They can create PDFs with their phone using the note function.
Okay.
So they go to the note function, activate the camera, shoot something, it becomes a PDF automatically.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so I'll have to show them.
Careful though, John. I think you're talking about iPhone specific.
Okay, I'm talking about iPhone. If they have something else, then
okay. So
yeah.
that's
your mileage may vary. Yeah.
So it depends on
the phone.
Right.
But there has to be an app. There has to be a free app for doing that. I would think for the other ones.
What you can maybe do, Mel, because I can't speak from expertise, is take the basic idea that John just had and find out from Nathan tonight, because he's going to do the Google Suite Q&A, how Google handles photographs in Google Keep or Google Photos, which are also G Drive apps that are available on any platform. It's Windows or Mac OS or iOS or Android. There's Photos, and they can do the scanning and they can do the note keeping for you. Maybe if you can come to Nate's thing tonight, he can give you the lowdown on how to make a set of.
Okay, thanks. I will definitely. Okay, well, thank you guys. Oh my God, you've been awesome. Does anyone have anything else to add or questions?
Open the floor. Open up your mics. Open up your
the floor. Now, let's open up the floor to both of us then.
Maybe turn off that share too, Mel, if you didn't need it.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Well, I've created something long ago, just a windy, twisty board game looking like Chutes and Ladders or something. And just each square has a particular question on it. So it's either general knowledge or what does this katakana English word mean in real English? Just a time killer for a while. They could make their own.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they can pretty it up too.
I'm just saving this link for Find Someone Who on Zoom. That's great.
And if you still want to, you can still raise your hand in the participants list, and we'll take those as well too. But yeah, it's an open floor now, so open up your mics and don't let us old guys just monopolize the conversation.
Speak for yourself. But thanks everybody. You gave me some really great ideas and tips, and I feel a lot more confident now. I can picture how I can set up my Google Drive with everything the students need, and whatever the however it falls, I'll be able to handle it. So I really appreciate your help.
Yeah, probably the big thing is if there's a task, give them a template. And if you can spend a little time sharing your screen with the template, so you show them specifically what they have to do.
Yep.
That probably goes a long way to solving a lot of your future problems.
Yes, I found that actually with my classes this semester, I was able to spend more time using the share function to explain things, and students understood me a lot better than normally when I'm speaking fluently and quickly. Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else? And now the floor is wide open, even to, oh, sorry, Anne, please.
Hi. I teach a class similar to yours. And I think I've had many of the same issues that you have. However, you know, in your Word document, it looks like with face-to-face, you can use Zoom in the classroom.
Yes.
Okay, see, we're not allowed to do that. We are going face-to-face as of now, at the moment. But our university will not allow us to use Zoom in any synchronous manner during class or.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they say that it's going to put a burden on the infrastructure, you know.
Is it possible at your school to maybe not teach every class face to face, like maybe every second class?
That's difficult because, well, right at the moment, the only class that can be asynchronous are those that have more than 60 students. You know, and one of the reasons why they don't want teachers to do Zoom classes, well, synchronously, is because some students will be on campus, others won't be on campus. And then when you're on campus, you know, jumping between a Zoom class and a non-Zoom class. Students that are off campus can't get to campus on time if they have a face-to-face line.
Right, of course.
So actually, you're in a better position than I am. So just a comment.
That's hard, because I didn't even think of that, to use Zoom in the class. My school is pretty much letting us do what we want. Yeah.
That must be nice.
By the way, I love your potato head collection there in the back on your shelf. That is awesome.
Yeah, I have more on the top shelf. My students give them to me. They usually, yeah, I have a collection and they see it and they want to add more.
They add to it. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, some schools are opening up their large classrooms where they have Wi-Fi to students that have to do a online class, but they're also on campus and they go to those classrooms and all that. You know, it may be something that you can talk to your school about. I don't know whether they would do that or not, but who knows? That's a possibility too.
And any questions, maybe even for me? I know how popular Mel is and how unpopular I am, but if there's anything left over that you wanted to ask about anything that happened between 1 and 2:50? Douglas.
I just wanted to say that I did have the experience of starting online, going back to face, and then just before the last class, somebody on campus got the coronavirus. So we went back online. So I've had a chance to do both. And face-to-face, I guess I'm not quite as worried as everybody else is, but they assigned seating to the students. So the students were always sitting next to the same people all the time. And, which meant that at the end of the class, when I gave them a questionnaire, they said, I would have liked to talk to somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. But they preferred face-to-face, but there were some people who did like online teaching, especially for boring lectures.
Yeah, you could just turn off your camera and go do what you want. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, sorry, John. Sorry, John. I got
sorry.
Michael Salaveras first. Yeah.
Okay. Jose, I mentioned this earlier, and I didn't really catch what you meant. The PowerPoint slides, your presentation. You said you're going to send them, or how can we access them?
I'll post them up on ATJ as their own post, and you can download them from that post. And they're not
Great.
PowerPoint; they're Keynote.
Oh, okay.
But
okay,
what would you prefer? What would you prefer?
PowerPoint, actually.
Okay, they were formatted in PowerPoint, so I can't speak to small formatting glitches, but usually transfers over really easily. I'll post them up on OTJ for you.
Great, thank you.
And Mel, how about that that file you made? I had to skip part of the session to go to a meeting, but I'm sure
I will. Where can I?
I'll show you how, Mel.
Here, no?
You could, save the document, find the document, drag and drop it into chat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to drop it in the chat right now.
Thanks.
Computer. Desktop.
Another thing you can do is give it to Adam, and Adam will be able to put it up on the website, so you'll have it in two places that can be downloaded.
It's here.
Yep. And Adam will download that, and then he will put it up on the
Awesome.
Thanks.
We're running out of chances for anyone. Oh, here we got Michael already spoke. John Helwig.
Yeah, I do groups. Last year when we were in class, we had groups of 4, and I always ran with seating charts. So there was always a group of 4 that were in the same group. But then for the second time they did it, or the third time they did it, there was a group, there was a number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And I basically said, okay, number 1s, they all knew their group numbers. And so basically number 1s, you're +1. You go to the +1 group. Number 2s, you go to the +2 group. Number 3s, you go to the -1 group. And number 4s, today you stay home. And that recreated the groups, gave them the opportunity to shuffle and to do their stuff again. So
this was face-to-face, John. This is pre-corona?
This was pre-corona. This is face-to-face. Now I basically have them in breakout rooms, and they don't move because it's way too hard to move in the middle of the breakout room. So they're in double, instead of groups of 4, they're in groups of 8, and basically they stay in those same groups. But I'm in the fall semester, I'm going to revise the original groups that they're in, so they get to see other people. And that's the other thing you can do. You can put them in other seating arrangements halfway through the class, so they get to meet other people and all that too. So
okay, just watching the clock, and it's coming up on 3, and I think Cynthia came back from maybe a disconnection. She had something she wanted to say. But before I let you have the floor, Cynthia, I wanted to remind everybody that the next session does start at 3 o'clock. It's teaching with kids at home during ERT. Sounds really, really interesting. You've got kids, which I don't. That might be good, that might be bad. No need for comment.
No judgment.
There you go. And but if you do want to catch that, please feel free to skip out of this one. We'll continue here if there's a couple other comments, but that one is about to start. Go to the website or go to OTJ and get the link for that, and go grab that one, because that's probably going to be a really interesting session as well. But otherwise, if you are going to go, I want to say thank you very much. It was a great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You guys are a great audience. Yeah.
Participants, co-creators.